Hello Rezzers, and welcome to this deep dive analysis of the RE Showcase livestream. Well, the showcase has been and passed, and it was one hell of a showing while also being slightly underwhelming. With Capcom hyping the event up, and fans anticipating a jam-packed lengthy show and tell session. We barely got 20 minutes worth of content, with over half of it dedicated to Resident Evil Village. We had more details of Resident Evil Village being released along with gameplay, pre-order announcements, and an official release date of May the 7th, 2021. To top it off, we had the debut of R.E.T.I.N.A, which would end up leading into the multiplayer beta test which was announced over the Ambassador program. And we also got teased about Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Some fans may have felt that the stream was a bit sparse and lacked any real impactful content, besides the deeper look at Village and the announcement of the Maiden demo, which is currently exclusive to the PS5 and arriving on other platforms in the spring. The expectation of Resident Evil 4 or Code Veronica being remade, or even a classic trilogy remaster being announced, didn't come to fruition. Perhaps we will see something more when Village and RE-verse has had its time, but focusing again on the showcase, let's look deeper into what we saw and any subtle or hidden references we may have missed on the first viewing. Before we continue, this will be a 3-part video, so remember to jump to part 2 to see gameplay analysis for Village, and part 3 for a look at the RE-verse and Infinite Darkness segments. Also, please do subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to stay notified of new Resident Evil content. Let's start off with the new Resident Evil Village trailer. We got a new extended trailer showing more of the castle, the witches, the tall lady, and also some new characters resembling zombies, along with the mysterious smiling man with the round sunglasses. To start, we get a glimpse of Mia looking concerned, with her and Ethan's baby, Rose, in the background inside the cot. Mia could possibly be worried about the after effects of how the mold infection from Evelyn in Resident Evil 7 Biohazard could have affected Rose. The symbol we have seen of the fetus, with the ring and the 4 bird feathers around it, could hint at this being true. Or Mia could be worried about the connections and her development of the E-type Evelyn BOW, and now the involvement of Blue Umbrella. Moving on, we see the tall lady in white, who we now know to be called Lady Alcina Dimitrescu, who is on the phone to a Mother Miranda. As to who Mother Miranda is, we do not know yet, but it's very possible that the old witch from the previous trailers could be Mother Miranda. Whether Mother Miranda is just a religious figure that the lady in white reports to, like the dynamic between Ramon Salazar and Osmond Sadler, or some kind of blood relation is unknown. But we do know the other 3 young maidens we see are all the daughters of this new fan favourite villain, all of whom use some kind of hornets or bees or other insects to teleport around the castle and hunt Ethan down, all in a similar manner to the Pain from Metal Gear Solid 3. With the blood around their mouths, the pale complexion, and even the ability to shapeshift into animals or turn invisible, being an ability of vampires in Romanian culture. The tall lady also mentions a name we haven't heard yet, in this case Heisenberg, which many fans will recognise as an alias of Walter White from Breaking Bad, who was also named after a German theoretical physicist. If we look at the poster that comes with the collector's edition, the name Heisenberg is linked to a factory on the edge of the village in the southwest, and Lady Dimitrescu's name is linked to a castle in the northeast, with 2 other names, Moreau linked to a dam in the southeast, and Benviento linked to a manor or a house in the northwest. All 4 names have their own sigils, with Dimitrescu being a flower with 2 crossed swords, which strangely resembles the logo used by the UBCS in Resident Evil 3. Heisenberg's logo appears to be a horse and a horseshoe. The Moreau family crest appears to be a mermaid or a siren, linking to their location near the dam. And finally, Beneviento having the sun and moon combined, which strangely harks back to the sun, moon, wind and star crests of the first game, and also the boxes found inside the Spencer mansion in the remakes as well, linking more directly with Umbrella and the other 3 founders, Marcus, Ashford and Spencer. You'll notice the locations on the map are equal to the shape of the Umbrella logo, and where they cross over on the map there is a central structure. As to what this location is or its relevance, we can only theorise that it is something to do with a ceremony mentioned by the tall lady. While on the phone to Mother Miranda, the lady in white says, "I understand the importance of the ceremony." We can safely assume that the ceremony involves baby Rose, who holds some significance to Mother Miranda and the others for some unknown reason. Possibly because they need Rose for some grander scheme, or even possibly a dormant viral strain sleeping inside her. But this isn't the first time we've heard mention of a ceremony in Resident Evil as a whole. In Resident Evil 4, after Ashley is taken back by Ramon Salazar and his minions, they prepare for a ritual in front of a giant plague, a parasite. What bearing this ritual had besides for religious purposes is unknown, but the ceremony in Village may hold more significance. But for now we can only speculate as to what the ceremony involves, whether it be to use Rose to help spread a new virus, or use Rose to help Mother Miranda maintain her life through transferring her mind, much like Alex Wesker attempted in Revelations 2. After the call ends, we get some glimpses of the inside of the castle, giving us memories of the extravagant Spencer Mansion, but on a grand scale we haven't seen since the Salazar Castle from Resident Evil 4. We can safely say that the R.E. engine has brought back an opulence we haven't really seen since the Resident Evil remake and the cruise liners from the Resident Evil Revelations game. We get shown a stone mural of a large battle on a wall in a circular room. What this mural depicts is uncertain since most of the warrior statues are very similar, all wielding spears and swords and with a couple of archers dotted round. It could be a local skirmish that's part of Romanian history, or part of a larger battle but more linked to the main story. But strangely, one of the archers to the bottom left of the lit suspended brazier appears to be wearing a plague doctor's mask. Could this be hints of a battle between locals and the infected? Next we see an external shot of the castle, with two bodies appearing to have been posed as a warning for those entering the castle, and that death awaits them. Similar to the cross and skulls we would find in Resident Evil 4 in and around the village. But then we go down a dark stairwell, and arrive in what appears to be an underground torture chamber, which is going to rival the ones found in the Umbrella Management Training Facility in Resident Evil 0, and the hidden chamber underground on the Rockford Island facility in Resident Evil Code Veronica. The chairs are lined with hundreds of spikes across every surface, allowing no respite for their victims. These are known as the Iron Chair, but also go by the name of the Torture Chair, or the Judas Chair, and was a common torture device found across Europe in the Middle Ages. There is also a wall mounted with many other torture devices in the background, but there is something far worse lurking in the cellar. In the shadows lurk multiple gaunt hooded figures, some of them armed with weapons, others using their sharp talons on their hands to swipe and strike at Ethan. Their teeth are mostly missing with only a few left, and their eyes looking pale. We can safely assume that we are seeing the return of zombies to Resident Evil in a new form. This feels like the perfect blend between the Ganados and the zombies, with them being visually disturbing but also being much more dangerous with them able to wield weapons and being slightly quicker with their attacks. Whether they will just be in this area or if we get to face them a few times will be interesting to see. Also, it could be possible that these are a failed form of the werewolf creatures and have been left in the cellar to decay. They could even be a version of the vampire ladies that have been rejected. Or these creatures could be in an advanced stage of mutation, almost like the Rotten from Revelations 2. But now we enter the halls of the castle again, being swarmed by large flies or bees which form in front of the doors to give us one of the daughters of the tall lady, before we go through a brief montage of moments including the dining table, Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters, then a statue of three figures impaling a prone man with a large hooded figure watching over them. This could just be an artistic reference to the Dimitrescu's attacking a victim. Again, we see the three daughters forming from insects, but then cut to a wooden veneer of three babies and a pale-faced mother cradling them. Again, this could be an artistic representation of the Dimitrescu family, and even some kind of door lock similar to the one opened using Vittorio Mendes's eye in Resident Evil 4, and the human body medical statue in Code Veronica, since one of the eyes is darker than the other, hinting that something may be missing, or it has to be scanned. But then there is something more worrying in this next shot that needs to be pointed out. We now stand outside the castle in an external shot looking up at the skyline and the battlements and the towers. We can see two large bat-like creatures flying across the sky. I would assume these creatures would be like the mutated bat creature similar to the boss fight from Resident Evil 0, but they look more bulky. And also one of them appears to have a forked tongue, but that could be down to pixelation of the video. Whether we fight these creatures is unknown at the moment, but we haven't really had a dedicated flying enemy for a while now, and it would be interesting to see what these creatures are. We then jump to Chris being handed Rose in front of Ethan, who is being held at gunpoint, helpless to stop Chris taking his baby. It does appear that the baby is Chris's target, whether he is working for the antagonists, or he's holding Rose hostage to get Ethan's cooperation, we don't know yet. Then we move to a montage of a stone coffin, the lady in white, and the coffin again, which is adorned with the sigil of the Dimitrescu family, before jumping to one of the daughters attacking Ethan while being swarmed by stinging insects. Then the titles. We now appear to be in some sort of warehouse storage, or a larder of some sort with barrels and fruit laid around everywhere. But a man we have seen little of is slowly stalking Ethan, with a large warhammer in hand strewn across his shoulders, and many objects floating around him, possibly via a form of psychic power, maybe telekinesis. Or it could be that Ethan is infected with some kind of strain like he was in 7 Biohazard, causing him to see illusions. And just before we cut away from the trailer, we see the man's smiling face with the round glasses one final time. Based on what we heard Lady Dimitrescu say before, and the fact that trailers are never linear, we could possibly be looking at Heisenberg, and one of the early boss fights before moving on to the main castle areas. Something else to point out is that this man, and the large ogre creature that we have seen in previous trailers, both carry a warhammer. Whether the large creature is related to the man in the sunglasses could just be coincidental, or they could just share the same style of hammer. What's more scary is the man only requires one hand to hold the hammer, and can move with little strain from the weapon, meaning this man is not to be underestimated. This ends the first trailer. So we have recapped over little details and the many things we have looked at, but what could they possibly mean? This is only just the beginning, and we will have to look at the gameplay trailer in part 2. Thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed part 1 of this Resident Evil showcase analysis. Please don't forget to like and share this video, and leave a comment with your thoughts on the showcase so far. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to stay notified of new videos uploaded to the channel. Thank you again everyone, and I'll see you all in part 2.